is just sniffing the air, just to see what kind of animals you might be, just to make sure you're friendly. Are you friendly? Oh, that's good, that's good. Come on then, good boy. Good boy. That's all right. Onto the ice. It's a bit cooler over here. Good boy. Now, hello everyone. Wow, hello. My name is Ursula, and I'm here to share my love of polar bears with you. This is my very good friend Bjorn. He's an adult male polar bear, and he's fully grown, or at least I very much hope he is. Good boy. Now, you may well be wondering whether it's safe having an adult polar bear here, surrounded by all of these people. Well, don't worry, he's not a wild bear. I've had him ever since he was a very small cub, so he's very used to people. As you can see, he doesn't mind me being close to him, or even giving him a little bit of a pat on the head, or even a bit of a tickle behind the ear. Oh, so I think he rather likes that. And I have given him a nice big lunch, so hopefully he's not too hungry. Now, this is a rare opportunity to get a little bit closer to a polar bear than you really would want to in the wild, and maybe even give him a bit of a pat on the head for yourself, if you're feeling brave enough. But before we do that, I do want to just check that we've got our polar bear facts straight. So I'm going to start by testing your polar bear general knowledge. So, who can tell me where in the wild polar bears live? Does anybody know? Or you might have to shout it to me. The North Pole, very well done, yes. The North Pole. Polar bears live in the North Pole. It's right at the top of the world. It's a place called the Arctic, and it's very, very cold there. But you can see that polar bears are very well designed for living in such cold environments. Can you see he's got very thick fur? He's actually got 2 layers of fur, and he's also got a big wad of fat underneath there, just to keep him toasty in the really cold weather in the Arctic. Okay, another question. Why don't polar bears eat penguins? Let's have a think about this. Why do you reckon they don't eat penguins?
Because penguins live in the North and South Pole.
And polar bears live in the North Pole. Very well done. Yes, it's a trick question, and you've got me. Well done. It's because they don't actually live in the same place. Polar bears only live in the north, and penguins only live in the south. So they never get to meet. The only time you'll ever see them together is when they're in zoos. And it's a bit of a trek, is it not? From one pole to another for just a measly penguin lunch. Okay, so if they don't eat penguins, what do they eat? What's a polar bear's favourite food? Oh, fish is a good guess. Not quite right. Can you tell me? Seals, very well done. Yes, seals are a polar bear's favourite food. I think he knows the word. But they're his favourite food. And the reason why they eat seals is because seals have got lots of fat on them. It's a special fat called blubber. And polar bears need to eat a lot of blubber in order to stay warm in the Arctic. When it gets cold, we eat lots more fat and lots more kind of warming food, don't we? So this is the polar bear's version of a casserole, I would say. Good boy, good boy. So they need to eat a lot of energy, keep their energy levels high. Okay, so it sounds like we know quite a lot about polar bears already. So this is good. So I want to give you a chance to give him a little bit of a pat on the head, or a bit of a tickle behind the ear. He's got a little pressure point just here. But I do want to check that he's in a good mood before we start, because he never can tell with bears. So I'm going to need a very brave and a very calm volunteer stroke guinea pig. Oh, you look very, very brave. Do you want to give your bag to someone else? Full of courage. Do you want to come and stand over here? Lovely stuff. What's your name? Elena. Elena. Nice to meet you, Elena. Have you ever met a polar bear before? Okay, good. Well, have you got any pets of your own?
I got a hamster.
You've got a hamster. Okay, so if we just imagine that Bjorn is a very overgrown hamster, then we'll be all right. Okay, Elena, so what you need to remember is that animals react to body language. Okay, so if you stay nice and calm in your body, then that will hopefully make Bjorn feel nice and calm as well, and we can bond. Does this sound all right, Elena? good news. Okay, so if you stand your ground and you hold your hand out, just like I'm doing, okay, and we'll call him over, and he'll probably want to have a bit of a sniff, just check you out, just to see if you're friendly. And then hopefully we can be friends. All right, so give him a call. His name's Bjorn. No, he's completely mesmerised by those young children over there. Maybe a little bit louder. It's Bjorn, but never mind, it's all right. He heard it anyway, he's not fussy. Good boy. Okay, so he's just going to give you a little bit of a sniff. Straight for the armpits, lovely. Polar bears have the most incredible sense of smell. They can smell a seal under a metre of ice and snow from nearly a mile away. Oh, have you got that bit behind his ear? Oh, he likes it. Good boy. Oh, that's good. I think you have a way with animals, Elena. That's really good work. Should we give her a big round of applause? Well done. I think he's in a good mood. What do we think? I reckon. Oh, and you've made a friend for life. You've made a friend for life. Okay, so I think he's in a good mood, so I think we can move on. So there's a couple of things to remember, just to pay attention to before we start. Firstly, can you see our lovely iceberg here? We need to not step on the iceberg. So if your feet are on ice, you need to go back a little bit. We don't want to crowd round him and make him feel uncomfortable. Polar bears are quite territorial animals, so we don't want to make him feel uncomfortable. Now, as Elena demonstrated so nicely, if you just stand your ground and you hold your hand out for him, he will come to you. And lastly, if anybody's got anything sticky on their hands, I can see that you're eating something rather sticky, like chocolate or toffee or sweets or anything like that. Maybe just give what you're eating to another person and maybe wipe your hands on your trousers or something that isn't a polar bear before we start, because I can tell you from experience it takes a long time to shampoo a polar bear. Okay, so just hold your hand out for him and hopefully he'll come to you. He's a very curious bear, so he likes to say hello to everyone. So if he's not with you yet, he will get there, don't worry. Good boy, Bjorn. There's too much choice. Oh, he's gone straight for Elena. Oh, he's got terrible breath. I do apologise. Seal breath. Good boy. Now, while he's saying hello to everyone, if anyone would like to ask any questions about polar bears or the Arctic, I've been studying for a while, so I'll see if I can answer your questions. Hello, what's your question?
Do polar bears just eat seals, or is there something else they eat?
Well, they prefer to eat seals if they can, but they're scavengers, so they'll pretty much go for anything they can find. They'll eat walrus, they'll eat beluga whales, you know those white whales? If they can catch them, because they're enormous, but if they can, then they'll eat those. In the summer, they swim to land. Is he behaving himself? Oh, madam, your phone looks like a silvery fish. He will go for it. Hold on to it. Hold on to it. Yeah, they'll swim to land in the summer, and they'll go through people's rubbish bins, which people don't really appreciate, and they'll eat lots of rubbish as well, so they're not really that fussy, but seals are the main source of food. All right, any other questions?
What do they not like?
What do they not like? Well, they'll eat pretty much anything they can find. They even eat, when they go through people's rubbish, they'll even eat batteries and motor oil and weird things like that. So I don't think there is anything they won't eat. Probably not carrots. Probably wouldn't go for carrots. They could let the reindeer have them. Hello.
Why does it have white fur?
Oh, that's a good question. Well,
no pigment.
It does look white, doesn't it? But actually, it's see-through. But the reason why it looks white is because they need to camouflage themselves in the white, snowy environment. They want to be able to sneak up on seals, so they don't want to be able to be seen. So if you were looking at an Arctic tundra, it'd be quite difficult to see a polar bear because they're exactly the same colour. What's your question? Why do penguins live in the sea? Well, they can't actually walk very fast on land, so they need, and they're better designed for living in the water. So that's why. Is he behaving? I do hope so. If anybody's got any food in their pockets, hide it. He will sniff it out. If he can smell a seal under a metre of ice and snow, then he can definitely smell your chocolate buttons. It's all right. He's a friendly bear. You don't need to scream. It's okay. What's your question? How did they do it? How old do they get? Well, in the wild, they live about 18 to 20 years. But in captivity, they live a little bit longer. They can live about 30 years. Good boy. What's your question? All polar bears are white, but there's lots of different bears, aren't there? There's grizzly bears and brown bears, and so they're brown. But polar bears are white. Madam, your camera looks delicious. No, back. Go on, back you go. I do apologise, madam. Go on, no. Go on, back you go. It's just too delicious. It looks so shiny and lovely. Hello. Okay, no worries at all. Elena, what's your question?
Why did you ever think of having a polar bear for a pet?
Well, to be honest, he's not my first choice. I found him when he was very little. He was only a cub and he was abandoned by his mum. So I spent a lot of time in the Arctic and I found him. And polar bear cubs without their mothers really can't survive. So I took him in. But, you know, a hamster would be much less hassle. I think it would be. What's your question? Oh, this is his lunchbox. We don't want him getting hungry.
So he carries a lunchbox.
No, polar bears generally aren't friendly. We wouldn't want to really spend that much time with a wild polar bear, but I did mention before that he's a tame bear. He's probably the only one. I wouldn't introduce myself to a polar bear in the wild. Hello. Oh, that's a good question. How heavy can he get? They're normally adult males are about twice the size of females, and they get to about 80 to 100 stone. So that's about 20. No, hang on. How many children is that? Loads of children. So you really wouldn't want to be sat on by one. Absolutely not. Oh, I think he's getting hungry. Your camera also looking delicious there. Let's have some more questions. Why do they live in the sea? Ah, well, they want to be able to catch seals, and seals live in the sea. So if they didn't spend time... And if they didn't spend time in the sea, then they wouldn't be able to catch their seals. They generally catch them on the ice though. They wouldn't want to move very fast. They wouldn't want to swim after a seal because seals are much faster in the water. They want to catch them when they're on the ice and not moving very fast. What's going on here? Come on, back you go. Dearie me. Come on, back. Oh, I think he's on the lookout for food. Chocolate, generally, is his favourite. What's your question? Where do they sleep? Ah, well, they don't generally have homes. They're nomadic, so they'll just keep on walking. But if it's really awful weather, and there's a snowstorm blowing in the Arctic, and it's really, really awful, then what they might do is just dig themselves a little den just to shelter from the storm in the snow. But generally, they'll just sleep on the ice. No worries at all, that's fine. Hey, what's your question?
Polar bears hibernate.
Oh, a good question. No, they don't. They don't hibernate. They're the only bears that don't. Sometimes in the summer, when there isn't a lot of food around, they'll kind of go into a walking hibernation, which is when their heartbeat goes a little bit slower, and they don't eat very much. But generally, they don't hibernate. The only bears that don't they? Very good question. How big do polar bears get? Oh, how big do polar bears get? Well, Bjorn is about as big as he's going to get. He's an adult. So if he was to stand on his back legs, he would reach about 9 foot tall, which is about a dad and a half, isn't it? Enormous. But the largest polar bear that we've ever known was 12 foot tall, which is about 2 dads. Absolutely enormous. That's a really good question. Why do they... Oh, what's in your bag? Is it edible? No, it's just a calendar. What are you doing? Go on, back you go. Back! So, why do they hunt seals when they come up for air? Well, I said before that seals can swim really fast, can't they? And so if polar bears were trying to catch seals whilst they were in the water, they wouldn't be able to catch them. And so what they do is they find a breathing hole, and they'll just wait at the breathing hole until the seal comes up to breathe. And as soon as the seal comes up to breathe, then you see their big sharp claws, and they just pull them out of the water and they're onto the ice. And that's how they catch seals. It's clever, isn't it? Good boy. Oh dear, what's that? It's not edible remotely, dearie me. Okay, let's have one last question.
They have sharp teeth.
Why do they have sharp teeth? Have you had a look at his teeth to see how sharp they are? It's so that they can catch their seals. If they didn't have, they're carnivores, and so if they didn't have sharp teeth, they wouldn't be able to catch seals, and they wouldn't be able to get any food. Okay, right. It's getting a little warm in here for a polar bear, I think, and we're going to pop off for a bit of a break soon. But before we go, what I would love to show you is a trick that I taught him. Would you like to see his trick? Oh, good news. Okay. All right, Bjorn. Come on, back you go. Back you go. Good boy. Good boy. All right. Well, I do need your help. Can you give me a hand? Good news. Okay, right. What I've done is I've taught him a trick to react to the sound of his favourite animal. Do you remember what that is? We've talked about it quite a lot. Seals. Good. Okay. So, can anybody do an impression of a seal? Amazing. Yes. Arr, 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 arr. It's a bit like a barking dog, isn't it? Shall we see if we can make that noise? Arr, 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 arr. Oh, look, you can see he's getting excited already. Okay, right. What we need to do is we need to add another layer to this. Let's get our flippers together and let's clap them together like seals do. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Okay, well done. So, what we're going to do on the count of 3, we're going to make this enormous seal noise that we won't even know where it's come from. It'll just come out. It'll be amazing. And what we need to do is inspire him to do his trick. So we need to put some welly into it. All right? So on the count of 3, let's make our seal noises. 1, 2, 3. See us. We will be back at 1 o'clock and also 3 o'clock if you want to come and see us again, learn more about polar bears and give them another tickle behind the ear. But until then, thank you very much and goodbye.